So welcome to another installment here at Bridgestone, where we ask the pros the questions you want answers to. We have 11-time LPGA champion and major champion Lexi Thompson. Lexi, welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
All right, well, let's get right down into it. We had a question from Fern Dog on Twitter. Say, what is your strategy for keeping a competitive edge during this layoff in the tournament schedule? What things kind of keeps your game sharp?
I would say the key for me right now, this is a very crazy time right now, unfortunately, but I just got SkyTrack Simulator in my garage, so I'll be practicing in that quite a bit just to keep my swing in sequence and everything, checking my numbers, and then I just got a perfect practice putting mat, so I'll be practicing on that, and then, mental side, just doing my regular meditation and seeing my life coach here and there, so just making sure everything keeps on track and is in sync.
Josh JH_golf on Instagram asks, this is kind of a hot topic right now. What do you think you'd shoot over 18 holes if you played left-handed?
Jeez. I don't know if I'd finish. I'd probably pick up. I am not good lefty at all. Even like little swings, I struggle. So it would be a lot. I don't recommend that you would want to play with me lefty because it would take a while. I wouldn't even be able to guess. It would be in the hundreds. Maybe two.
Ricky broke 100. I think he shot 97 with him and JT went and played the other day. So that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, I saw their swings. They're definitely more talented than I am lefty.
Robert Walters from Facebook asked, Lexi, what's your best putting tip?
My best putting tip? For me, one of my drills that I always do, whether it's before a round or just in my putting practice, is I use the gate drill. So I'll match up my putter to where I want to aim on about a 6-footer, left to right or right to left during a straight putt. And I'll just put a tee on the outside of my putter and a tee on the inside. And it actually just helps with center contact for my stroke and just makes it a lot more consistent. And I feel like a lot of putts come down to those 3 to 6 footers. So I like to practice that distance always before a round just to get that confidence.
Yeah, very, very similar answer to Matt the other day. He says those 6 to 7 footers kind of make or break a tournament week for you.
Yeah.
Greg Lewis, 1974, said, what does an average day of practice look like for you? How does that vary when you're at a tournament versus off the tournament week?
Let's see. Well, when I'm in season or off season, I'm getting into practice, not tournament week. I love to play. I'm a big believer in going out and playing, seeing different shots, seeing trouble, so that way I get in the mindset of playing in an actual round. I've never been one to go to the range and just hit hours of golf balls because I just get not focused and I get too sidetracked. So I like to go out and play. So usually my brothers and I will go out 7:30 and be the first ones to tee off, go and play 18 or sometimes 27 holes, be the first ones off, and then practice a little bit after depending on what I need to work on in my game. But if I'm struggling with something and I really need to practice, I'll go practice my short game for about 2 hours at least. That's chipping and putting, and then I'll hit balls for about an hour and working on what I need to. And then tournament week, I don't practice too much just because I feel like in my off weeks I put it all in my practice time, so that way when I go to tournament week it's just all I'm getting comfortable with the golf course, learning it, seeing what changes were made, and just going out there and playing, believing that I put in the work.
You did mention your brothers there, and I saw a little competitive edge from you guys when we went and did some R&D testing with you. How often do you clip your brothers when you do play them? Do you get them most of the time?
I wouldn't say most of the time. It's very competitive. They play from all the way back, and I usually play 2 tees up, which is about 6,700, which is pretty far for women. And then I play them straight up. So it's a match. I will tell you, I've gotten them a few times, but it's really good practice to have them around, and it's competitive, and there's always trash talking and noise and everything. So it gets you really focused. It'll either tear you apart or make you a lot stronger.
PRALHAD 793 on Instagram asks, this could be a tough one. What was your most enjoyable tournament of your 11 LPGA wins?
Ooh, that's a tough one. Out of the wins, sorry, my dog's jumping on. I would say I'm in between two. Either my first one at the Navistar LPGA Classic, which was my first LPGA win, just because getting the first win under my belt and then having my dad being on my bag and sharing that moment with him, it was just one that I'll always remember. And then winning my first major at the A&A Inspiration, jumping into Poppy's Pond was just the most memorable experience for me. It's the highest honor, and just the history behind that event, it was just a big deal for me, and I knew that I could win on that golf course, and I've always seen it. So, making that possible was a dream of mine, and to have my whole family jumping in the pond with me, it was so much fun.
So you just mentioned you've won that major. Which major are you most looking forward to getting notching on your belt?
I would say being an American, the U.S. Women's Open Championship, winning that one would be a big deal for me. Being an American, winning your Open Championship would be the highest honor. So it's one tournament that I've always wanted to get under my belt, but it's a long, grueling week and mentally tough. So it takes a lot of patience, but usually the courses are set up hard for the Open. So it's definitely a challenge, which I really like.
Adam Garcia on Twitter asked, how old were you, if you can remember, when you won your first tournament, and how did that feel?
Well, let's see. I think I started tournaments when I was 7, and I wasn't good at first at golf. So I would say around 8 or 9, I won my first one, and it was just like the little kids events. My dad was caddying for me. I'll tell you a funny story. So I lost my first event by so many strokes, probably like 20. And my dad was on my bag, and he's like, "We're winning this one next time we play in it. We're gonna win it. We're gonna work our butts off, and we're gonna win it together." And then I ended up winning it by like 20 the next year. So I don't know if that was my first win, but it was definitely the most memorable one when I was little, because he loves telling that story. And so I would say around 8 or 9 years old was my first one.
You kind of have a common denominator a lot with these wins. You got a family member on the bag for a lot of them. Your brother's on your bag for some, your dad. That's pretty cool. Yeah. Let's see. Oh, here's a good one. Girls of Golfogram on Instagram asked, what are you currently watching on Netflix or any streaming service? Kind of what are you binging right now?
What am I not watching is a better question. Since I'm bored out of my mind. Okay, let's see. All American, which is a great show. Money Heist. Ozark. Elite. I have like so many. Baby. I don't know. But there's like 5 of them, and I'm all like waiting for the next season to come out.
Brian Rice Golf on Instagram says, what ball do you use and why?
I use the Bridgestone Tour BX. I've used it for a few years now since I've been with Bridgestone, and I just love it. For me, when I'm testing a golf ball, or what I look for in a golf ball is when it's good in the wind, especially crosswinds, because I don't like to play for a lot of crosswind hitting my golf ball. And the Tour BX has been the best golf ball for me in the wind. It's a little bit on the firmer side, but that's always been what I've gravitated to. But for me, I always like to test balls in the wind, because if it doesn't get affected too much, that's what I like to see. So that way I can trust it, knowing, where I line up, if there's crosswinds, that it's going to move the exact amount that I know if I hit it properly.
So kind of moving on to that next question. This one kind of goes from there. Lee Trevino fans on Instagram asked, what is the major difference maker for you between choosing the X, your ball, and the XS, which is Tiger and has a lot more spin?
The Tour BX is a little bit firmer, a little bit less spin, which I feel like is best suited for my game. It's still good around the greens. It's soft enough for my chips around the greens to know how it's going to react. So for me, a less spin golf ball, especially in the wind, because Florida can get really windy. So I know when I practice, I like to use the Tour BX just because it's more consistent for me and my golf swing and my swing speed with the crosswinds and into the wind. I know it's going to carry downwind the numbers I need, and into the wind, it's going to be a good flight and not get too spinny on me.
So what is the most unique thing you have inside your golf bag?
In my golf bag, well, let's see. My lucky charm is ladybug. So I have like a little ladybug bag of like Lucky Charms in there somewhere that my caddy hates to carry. But it's good luck for me. And I have like 18 $2 bills in there that I consider lucky. So I have those all in there, and then my Lucky Charms, and I like to believe it works some days.
So ladybug Lucky Charms and $36 worth of $2 bills. Gotcha. Best golf advice you've ever received?
Best golf advice. I would say the best golf advice that I've received is probably from Nancy Lopez. She's been a big role model of mine, and I've really looked up to her. Besides my brothers, them always giving me advice and being there for me, Nancy has always been one to tell me when I'm struggling. She's always there for me to pick me up, and that, not to get too down on myself, because it's a crazy game and it doesn't control your life. You're more than just a sport, and just like reassuring me, like telling me that I'm the most amazing golfer and that I just believe in my talent, and more just like reassurance and getting that confidence up rather than advice. But having a person like Nancy Lopez is a big deal to have just there for me, kind of like a second mother, to give me advice and to help me through life and my golf career.
What is your favorite snack on the course? Not like a nutritious thing. Like, what's a guilty pleasure you sneak out on the course and your favorite snack?
Well, I don't like splurge too much and around on bad snacks, but sometimes I make like these protein balls. They're like oats, dark chocolate chips, cranberries, peanut butter, and like cinnamon. And if I get them before they don't melt on the golf course, they're so good. They're like a little dessert, and it's probably like at least 10 grams of protein per ball. So it's like a perfect snack for like a few holes.
So mine is a ball too, except has a hole in it and it's a powdered donut. That's my favorite one on the course. A little different than your protein ball. All right. What is the furthest drive you think you've ever recorded?
Furthest drive I think I've ever hit is probably in Australia. I think it was like one of my first few years I played professional golf too, but it was super firm, and I think it went about like 340 yards. It just kept going. And I didn't know where it went, and they're like, oh, it's way up there, and I'm like, oh, okay, what it hit, sprinkler? So I would say around 340. I don't know exactly, but around that.
What is your favorite Tiger story?
Probably, I've gotten advice from him. I've never played golf with him or anything like that, but I know the A&A Inspiration, I called him last year because I was struggling a little bit, just kind of mentally with my nerves and everything. And I'm like, well, my management team, they're like, oh, just call Tiger up. Here's his number. I'm like, okay, sure. Because I know it was an off week or anything like that. So I called him up, and he was so nice, and just he told me, I said, I'm struggling with my nerves. My hands are shaking a bit. I don't feel nervous. I just I feel anxious to play. Like, I know I practice and put in the work. I just want to get out there and play and show that I can do it. And he just said, you just need to eat more. I told him what I eat on the golf course, and he's like, that's it? And I'm like, I feel like I'm stuffing my face. And he said I need to get more food in me and more calories, because you don't realize how much you're burning even going through your warm-up, which for me is an hour and 15 minutes long in general. And I eat 15 minutes before my warm-up at least. So with doing the warm-up, you go through all that food, burning it with all the adrenaline. So you don't realize, your body needs more nutrition before you even tee off. And then about every 2 holes, you should be eating something. So ever since then, I'm eating either protein balls or peanut butter banana sandwiches every 2 holes. So just to keep my calories up and energy levels up, and making sure I drink 1 to 2 waters every 2 holes.
I like that advice. I'm eating a lot more here while I'm quarantined at home, but I don't know if that's helping me. Do you have kind of a master story?
So I've only been to the Masters once, and it was for a practice round, and it was crazy, the amount of people and everything, and this was a while ago. I do have one story, and I think it was on after the par 3 over the water, and Freddie was on the next tee box, and he was walking. They had all hit their tee shots, and they're walking up to the fairway, and I was just on the sidelines, and he happened to look over and see me, and he called me up out into the fairway with him. And I love Freddie. Freddie's an amazing person. He's been so nice to me over the years. So he called me up into the fairway, and we took a picture. I don't even know what that picture's at. But we took a picture with the group and everything, and it was definitely a memory I'll always remember. So it was a big deal for me. It was like a huge honor just to be there in general. It was like an amazing experience. TV doesn't do the Masters justice, but I want to get out there again and watch it.
Well, awesome. Well, thank you, Lexi. Thank you for fielding a few questions from the people out there and taking a little time away from your schedule and answering a few questions for everybody out there. Thank you.
Oh, of course, anytime.